Alright, so today is another Gerard Grisey episode. We're looking at Modulations, which is a piece of his for orchestra from Les Espaces Acoustiques, his cycle of works for varying instrumentation. I believe this is the one just after Partials, which we've already looked at, episode number below. And we've also looked at a couple Pierrot ensemble pieces by Grisey and maybe one other piece of his. Yeah, in the Chamber Orchestra series, I think we looked at a second piece. So those episodes are listed below. The first time we looked at his work, we went over his biography. I'm not going to be doing that today, but you can go to that episode if you would like that. Yeah, this score that I'm looking at, this is just like a almost photographed scan of the score. You can see that the first page of it is the last page of Partials. So yeah, that confirms my suspicion here. We got the little man opening the pair of cymbals, which are going to crash to start the piece. And then you can see when we get into the score proper, we got some interesting stems through multiple ensemble members. I think this is something that we see in Messiaen's scores a little bit, so it's not like entirely unique to Grisey, but definitely more rhythmic than previous pieces in Les Espaces right off the get-go. I haven't listened to this piece in a really long time, and I don't remember much about it except maybe there's like a lot of interesting percussion stuff in the middle, and there's some electric guitar and electric bass which have to be tastefully used. I think that's the case. I might be wrong though. So I believe it is 2-2-2-2. 2-2-2-1, 3 percussionists, harp, piano, doubling on celesta and organ, violin, and then strings. In this case it's 5 violins, 3 altos, 2 cellos, 2 basses, so I guess technically we could have covered this in the Chamber Orchestra series, but it's too late now. I guess what I'm thinking of as a different piece in the cycle, but this one does have electric, like Hammond organ, so maybe that's what I was recalling. I'm not sure. The flutes have to double on alto and piccolo, both of them, and both oboes have to double on English horn. There's actually a third clarinetist, my mistake, on doubling on contra, but mostly on bass, and one of the bassoonists has to be on contra, and then one of the trombones has to be on bass as well. Yeah, I think I'm just going to jump right into it today. Honestly, I don't feel like translating the program note, and I think the title is pretty self-explanatory where it comes from. In electronic music, when you modulate something, you take one parameter, like one control voltage of some kind, apply it to a parameter of something else. So, for example, you could take like a LFO and modulate the pulse width of a square wave, those sorts of things. And in synthesizers, it's like the easiest way to like start making complex sounds. A modulation in classical music is something completely different, obviously. It's when you change keys. It's usually when we use the word. But I don't think that's what Grisey is talking about here. So let's get into it. It's a spectral piece. If you aren't aware, spectral pieces borrow a lot from acousmatic, electronic music, and translate these various technologies into the acoustic realm. So that's what we're in for. The recording is in the video description, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, yeah, so my thoughts on this. Hopefully you listened along. This is definitely worth listening to. It is sort of an odd one in the cycle because it's like number 4. I think 1, 2, and 3 are all more popular or more well known. Whereas 4, 5, and 6 are sort of lesser performed, obviously because of the size of them. But yeah, this one, I really wasn't in the mood to do a video today, and all kinds of things are interrupting me right now because I'm recording later than usual. But I was immediately charmed by the opening of this piece, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like the good stuff. This is like premium, like spectral stuff. And I just really appreciate that Grisey takes his time with every like large scale thing that he's shaping, and he isn't afraid to repeat ideas and to like stay on a particular sound for a long time. He's sort of this master of pacing and psychology almost. There's this idea that he introduces in Periode, I believe, called like inhalation exhalation, which is a way that he structures his music, and this is one of the clearest examples of that in action. I think it's even clearer than Partials. And I don't know if he kept to it for his whole career. I think he sort of we looked at some of his later works and they were a bit more complicated formally, but this is like nice and simple. And the end of the first big idea, you get like to these grand pauses with you get down all the way to just a bass drum, like the lowest frequency in the ensemble, and then it starts opening back up again, like this sort of low pass filter. Like a lot of the harmonies are like what you think of when you think of spectralism, very harmonic seriesy, but surprisingly dark. You know, you expect it to have a bigger sound than the previous like episode of Les Espaces, but it doesn't sound bigger than Partials. It actually just sounds like darker and more threatening almost. Like everything is yeah, very very strange, and you can tell that something is not entirely right, and that something it's sort of building up to somewhere, which kind of makes for an interesting piece on its own, just listening to it on its own. But I can't imagine it's been programmed a lot without the other pieces of Les Espaces. Yeah, it looks like we actually do have some front matter at the end here. So I jumped the gun a little bit here. There's 33 musicians in this, so it's just a hair larger than some of the largest chamber orchestra pieces we looked at. And, you know, it's exactly what I read on the Earcam website. But if you're interested, the percussion ones on like bells, bass drum, snare drum, hand drums, bongos, crotales, things like that. Percussion 2 has to deal with the vibraphone and crotales, and some gongs, a huge tom, some cymbals. I guess they're the big cymbal player. And then percussion 3 also has to deal with a vibraphone larger than the seconds, and they have a glockenspiel part, and then a bunch of small percussion, including like the wood blocks and temple blocks that are famously in the opening there. Yeah, kind of a weird score. It's like typeset, almost like an old dissertation, and it's got just a little bit of performance notes. Definitely less performance notes than previous editions in Les Espaces. Grisey is just one of my favorite composers, so it's kind of hard to go wrong listening to a piece like this. And I ended up really enjoying it. I think now that my ears have developed a little bit since the last time I heard it, I can actually like kind of store some of this stuff in my memory now. Um, okay, so I think next episode we're probably going to be listening to some Boulez, like 90% sure. There's this Henry Brandt piece that we might be looking at, but I haven't had success finding his other scores, so we'll see. And yeah, we're just gonna slowly go back into the 70s here.